The recently retired Special Forces officer was just trying to bail out his brother in jail, but the next thing he knows, he's being run over by local cops who aren't even trying to apologize. Two cops indiscriminately claimed Carter's bike was stolen and tried to arrest him for it, but after checking his ID, Carter was found to have no criminal record. But the officers wouldn't stop there, so they searched his bag and found $36,000. The pile of money instantly intrigued the officers, who wondered why Carter was carrying so much cash. Carter said it was for his brother's bail, but after a few moments, they decided the money was stolen and wanted to confiscate it, despite Carter's defense that the money was from working at the restaurant and cashing in his shares, and providing the restaurant's address for them to investigate. It didn't help. They're determined to hold the money, and if the investigation confirms that it's stolen or that he's suspected of felony evasion and conspiracy, they'll arrest him along with it. But before we do that, I'm gonna give you a traffic violation. Carter chose to compromise his power because right now, it was his brother who mattered. What the two officers never realized was that the gears of their fate and that of the police department would begin to turn because they'd messed with the wrong person. What happens when a retired Special Forces soldier is bullied by the police to the point where he can't stand it anymore? The man wanted to save his brother in prison, but he was intercepted by two police officers and even robbed of his brother's life-saving money. But he had to give in because the key to saving his brother's life was to get him out of jail. But when he arrived at the courthouse, they didn't care about him. The staff said coldly that without the money, everything was out of the question. Even if he took out a slip of the bail money that was seized by the police, it didn't help at all. Carter called the owner of the restaurant he had been working with to explain the situation, and when he found out that he needed money, he agreed to do so, but it would take a few days. That night Carter camped out by the river without any money, a situation he was used to for a retired Special Forces soldier. But he couldn't understand how he had dedicated himself to his country and now he was in this situation. As the saying goes, it's all right to take a step back, but the more you take a step back, the more angry you get. After pinpointing the location of the police station, Carter decided to do something about it, and the next day he went to the police station alone to file a report. The cop who took his money was surprised, but he didn't take him seriously and threatened him with a false report. Behind him, the chief of police came up and said that it was rare for an alleged conspirator like Carter to be able to talk to the law, and warned Carter that he would face felony charges if he ever harassed one of his officers again. The wily chief even flipped off Carter's recording device. Carter realized that the chief was in cahoots with these cops and that the police department was rotten from the inside out. Carter had no choice but to give in, saying that he would only take $10,000 to save his brother and give them the rest. Seeing that his goal was accomplished, the commissioner said that Carter could see his brother tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. What Carter didn't know was that it was all a setup. When Carter arrived the next day, not only did the commissioner fail to keep his promise, but he transferred his brother to the state penitentiary ahead of schedule. The commissioner said it was because Carter was 3 minutes late. The commissioner's comment left Carter with no choice but to waste time because the prison to which he was being transferred was occupied by his brother's sworn enemy, and if they met, it would be a fatal encounter. Carter quickly catches up with his brother and tells him to keep a low profile and he'll get him out on bail as soon as possible. What they didn't know was that after that conversation, the two brothers would be separated from each other. Carter came back and rushed to call the owner of the restaurant to fulfill his promise, but did not realize that the cunning director had already sent people to seize his restaurant and frozen his account. And now even the staff cannot be paid wages. Carter also finally realized that the director of the original Pretend To agreed to visit his brother, but in order to buy them time to investigate their own. The director of the series of unscrupulous evil deeds to further drive Carter into a desperate situation. And Carter Wilde is not a person who will be slaughtered because he is the strongest veteran of the military.